I would say the top story of today is the food crisis, the cost of rice and wheat, and the ridiculous situation where we're using grains for biofuel. I would say is a very major concern. We can't allow food supplies to be misused.
What's your top story?
I'm gonna have to say global warming.
What's your top story?
I guess part of it is our dependence on the automobile and how we should change our lives a little bit so that we don't have to use the automobile all the time.
What's your top story?
I don't watch the news.
What's your top story?
I think East Hastings would be a big concern for Vancouver, just because there's so many homeless people down there. I think they could help clean up, give a home to the homeless, take more care of their own people type of thing.
What's your top story?
Downtown Eastside. It's the most pressing issue facing Vancouver today.
Are you optimistic?
No, not at all.
Why not?
There isn't the will, the vision, or the decisiveness that's necessary.
What do you think they could do?
Do you have an hour, 2 hours, a week, a month?
What's your top story?
My top story would be what kind of limited education we have in Canada, and how government controlling this education in private school. They live in a place where it's already all prepared for them, and they really didn't work hard to reach it by themselves. So children cannot go to college or university, they're not prepared.
I think the top story of this week is the matter of interest rates, in that the U.S. Central Bank and the Canadian Central Bank have both dropped interest rates over the last few months. And is this in fact a good thing, or is it leading to lower value of particularly the US dollar and higher costs for fuel, which leads to higher costs into everything else, including food? It's the question of the week, and I don't know whether the actions being taken are effective.
What's your top story?
I think ultimately right now, I think the economy is a real issue, especially with what's going on in the U.S. and things that are going on in Ontario, for example, where jobs, we're losing a lot of jobs, and what's that going to translate to eventually for everybody in this country? Ultimately, I think we're going to have to bite the bullet. I mean, a lot of people are so much in debt, and the government keeps wanting you to spend more money when in fact you should be maybe paying off your debts, and maybe once you're out of debt we can start growing again. I think in BC, BC and Alberta, we might be sheltered from this a little bit, but ultimately it's going to catch up to us as well. I think there's been so much prosperity now, people don't see any bad days ahead, and they're bound to be there, I think.
What's your top story?
Alex?
Sunshine, blue sky, summertime's coming.
Okay.
What's your top story of the day?
It's architecture. Vancouver needs a world-class piece of architecture, because all this is steel and glass. It looks like Hong Kong in a small size.
Mint green, too. Everything's mint green.
So, I mean, ambition. Ambitious architecture.
I'd say personally my top story would definitely be the soccer stadium.
What about the soccer stadium?
I'd say the delays and what exactly has caused these delays, and the problems between the two opposing groups and why they seem to be opposing. I'd like to basically have the Port Authority agree to the 1/3 land deal trade and hopefully get a soccer stadium built for Vancouver.
Well, my top story is clearly the Middle East and Israel. The issue is the hatred against God's chosen people, the Jews. The focus of the world is on Israel because that's how God has it. And I really believe that the end times, everything is going to revolve around the country Israel and the Jews. My biggest concern is that we are in the end times. And I have a real legitimate concern, not only for the Jews, but for the people who don't understand what the real issue is. They hate the Jews, what they really don't understand. They can hate them for as much as they want and for as long as they want. They're God's chosen people.
What's your top story?
I guess the whole idea that the world's probably going to come to an end soon, and that seems to be on people's minds.
What's supposed to happen?
Well, they're not sure. I mean, there's all this talk about global warming, but that might just be an underlying issue. There's some kind of cosmic disturbance going on out there. There's a lot of talk about some kind of cosmic disruption that is coming soon that people probably don't want to think about, but the universe is a pretty unstable place. It's not like planet Earth is stable itself, right? So something like that isn't too far-fetched. I don't want to go into details. I got my own plans about that. But yeah, just if Armageddon comes, not necessarily God, it could be something with the universe.
What's your top story?
My top story is certainly of international bent, and it's not something local. I tend to see news as more of an international playground of thought and process. I tend to follow NPR, National Public Radio out there, and what's going on out there is, of course, this ongoing battle between the Democrats. There's a lot of bickering now back and forth between Obama and his pastor, and I find that, unfortunately, the real issues take a second seat to what makes quick fix, easy sell, front page news that can be quickly reproduced in sound bites, quickly reproduced in sound bites.
Thanks for tuning in. This was mytopstory.com for May 2nd, 2008.